So I'm Dan.
And I'm Nick, folks.
And together we form
this crazy dynamo
known as the
Unpanderers. No, sir, we don't pander.
Yeah, especially not to younger viewers.
If you're under 18, please get your waiver signed and come back.
Yeah, go listen to some tinier podcast that doesn't care. We care.
Also, if you're an employer, you cannot use this podcast against me, please. Only because it's for infotainment.
Yeah, it's for fun.
Entertainment purposes only, I believe it's called.
Yeah, nothing can be used against us in a court of law.
So what would you say we do here again?
We like to fit in the groove and just flow. Burst out in conversation.
Let it rip. A couple of old friends just going over some really interesting stuff. So why don't you tune in?
Enjoy.
Thanks, folks.
Alrighty. Marks our 30-something episode. I don't know which one this will be, but it's somewhere in the mid-30s.
Classic is what it is. It's already an instant classic.
Yeah, it's more than we are.
I can't wait to hear this one in retrospect.
I always enjoy them. Always enjoy them.
I enjoy them more, gang. And I'm Nick.
And I am Dan.
Just giving a visual basis here.
Yeah,
if this is your first episode.
Ooh.
You'll notice the beautiful golden locks that aren't even golden. That's Nick, folks. Just keep that in mind.
Did you add a touch of gray to it?
No, that's just what color my hair.
No. I
gray
mean,
spot.
it's starting to fade, I think. That gray spot's fading into the rest of the hair.
No, because it's long. It's literally just being covered.
I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe it's age. Could be age.
It's disappearing from age. You're gray. It's slowly getting away from you. Welcome aboard tonight, gang.
Yeah. I talk about Jack the Ripper.
Ooh. I just got a shiver.
Serial killer. Never caught.
Wow. Are you sure?
Well, he might have been killed and then not be able to tried, but it's part of the mystery.
Some say he's still out there today, 138 years old, just killing women. What a guy.
The spirit of him is, anyway.
Not a friend of the podcast, that's for dang sure. We don't condone his maneuvers, nor his penmanship.
He couldn't even use real blood. He's like, red ink's going to have to stand. Oh, well. Sorry, guys.
What a guy.
So, do you have any clarifications or corrections from last time?
In the last episode, I said a toothbrush. Someone asked what a toothbrush was made of. I said it's 100% nylon.
I would have said ivory.
Not true. Toothbrush is actually 90% nylon, 10% whatever you want. It could be bone meal. It could be string. It could be gum. Not chewing gum, but like the solid thing, gum. So, just so you know.
Wow, I did not know that.
There you go. That's my clarification. I said it somewhere in the episode. You'll have to really dig to find it, but it's there. It's there.
In there. It's in the subtext. You got to listen to it backwards and then
forwards
max
again.
Volume at the same time.
Oh dear, I made this tooth full.
Oh yeah, you got to sip that up. So my clarification last time was so comedians. Is it more likely that the comedians with a lower starting last name because they called first in class, are they more likely to be comedians? So I looked at the top 50 comedians of all time, which is on ranker.com.
Richard Pryor.
Yeah, he was like up there, number one. And then I did a distribution of what their last names would be and what percentage of population they are. Turns out...
Okay, I'm riveted.
Yeah, turns out it's like exactly 50%. So it's split right in the middle. So it's even distribution between them all. It's amazing.
So that has nothing to do with when you get called in class.
No, it has nothing to do with that. But I will blame it on that, though.
That's fair.
That's the reason I'm not comedic.
You are a later alphabet person, and I am an early alphabet person.
Yeah, almost the same, almost like a mirrored image.
And
there are only 4 last names that begin with the letter X. I found that out today.
Can you go over them?
Xanther, Xanthopolis, and then other ones I can't pronounce.
Are they like in the dictionary? Like, can you make a new
like
last name?
Xavier. I guess you could. Can you name a baby with a different last name?
X-Man? I'm naming my baby Cyclops X-Man. And I'm giving him up because he sucks. X-Men suck.
You really wanted a Wolverine, didn't you? You're like, damn it, I named him
all. Yeah, have to give it up. Real quick, before we really get into that nitty-gritty stuff, maybe we can do something fun real quick.
Oh.
No, this is a tongue twister.
Are you sure?
It's a good one.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't want to get all nasty. Seamen sailing swiftly. Can you try it for me?
Seamen sailing swiftly. Seamen sailing swiftly. Seamen sailing swiftly.
Can't even do it slow. That's awesome.
I was just getting confused because I tried to picture it.
Yeah, you are picturing it.
I was thinking swimming.
Oh, yeah, swimming. Mm-hmm.
Seamen swimming swiftly.
Sailing.
I know. The swimming makes more sense, though.
Mm-hmm.
Depends. I guess depends where they are in the process.
Yes, it does. We're all swimmers at one point in our lives. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. 500 billion in a lifetime.
Well, moving on to the fun stuff.
Yeah.
Jack the Ripper.
Sounds fun. I get to go through this sort of chronologically, I guess.
Oh, please do.
It's the most logical.
Bring us back to 1888.
Yeah, 1888.
Venture a guess. Let's say late August. Burning hot.
I thought it was summertime into autumn. Summer to autumn.
It was August was the first one. November was the last one. I'm pretty sure.
Ooh, let's see here.
Check me.
April. Well, there's some that. Okay, we'll get into that. There's some that are not canonical.
No, we're going to canonical 5.
The other ones because they tried to pin. That's the.
Yeah.
They tried to pin so much out of the people.
Before today, I didn't know Jack Ripper from Eddie Munster. You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't pick them out of a lineup. I don't know anything about them.
Yep.
Don't know them from Adam. I didn't realize. I thought the guy killed like 700 people. He's verified killer of only 5.
5, yeah.
I mean, they're terribly gruesome murders and all that, but I really expected it to be like 500 people over like a 50-year span or something. It was only 5 people in like one half a year, 6 months.
Yeah, quick stint, which makes you think he probably came and went, disappeared.
Off or left or
something else.
Or didn't exist at all. There's some weird theories out there we'll get into, but go ahead. Let's go over chronologically. Jack the Ripper, a.k.a. Leather Apron, a.k.a. the Whitechapel Killer.
Oh, you're doing your research. I love it.
I know a thing or two.
Getting a research boner over here.
It's showing.
Well, you get the setting. So the setting is 1888, London, East End.
Ooh, is that the rich end or the poor end?
Historically, the East End of most cities is the shitty part. Can you tell why?
Away from the rising sun, the setting sun? Does that have to do with the sun setting or rising?
It has to do with heat and smells. And traditionally, the jet stream flows from west to east. So the east side is smellier.
Interesting.
Especially in an older city that doesn't have...
Right, plumbing, a.k.a. toilets, a.k.a. poop chutes. Huh. I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's a tidbit right there for you.
Tasty.
Yeah. And then they...
But go ahead.
Going to bring up
what was the east end of London right there, huh? Can you get into that for me?
I got a little graphic here. So someone actually did like
so did Jack.
Demographics of the area that he killed in. So it was mostly a shitty area. It was lower class. It was black areas. And
all
then
within 3 blocks or so? Or like 6 blocks?
Oh, no, it's much larger than that.
It was it? Oh, okay. I was under the impression that the 5, right? Only the canonical 5.
It looks like it's about maybe a 10 block by 10 block radius. Like 10 block radius. Maybe less. A little less than that. Maybe like a 6 block radius.
See? Now we're back in the zone.
Yeah, but still, that's a lot. It's like 36 blocks square. So that's a decent distance.
He couldn't hop in his car. That's the problem.
Yeah. Horse and buggy? He drive-by stabbing? I don't think so.
Are you sure?
I don't know. Maybe that was his trick.
There was a theory that he was a horse and buggy killer. He had like this death horse and buggy, and he would roam around, pick up a girl, cut her open on the inside, and then fling her out in the alleyway or on like the steps and leave her. Man. And that's how he made his getaways and everything, and how it all happened and no one heard screams. It was later poo-pooed because how could he grab her from one area, drive around in circles for like 10 minutes and then come back or an hour or whatever. They said it was unlikely.
And there was
that was a theory floating around.
The detailed notes in some of the murders makes it so they know exactly, like they have patrols, and the patrols look records. So like there's 15 minutes between the time where the patrol left the area and came back to the area and found the body. But they know like the chutes, the prostitutes, they were they were hanging around the area. They were known.
For those at home, all his victims, all 5 canonical, we'll call them the 5 canon, the canon 5, we're going to call them. It's like a group.
Yeah.
They were all
K5, C5.
Prostitutes, correct?
Yes.
Now, was that a common profession at the time?
So that I think London at the time was hitting a little bit of a doldrum where financially it's difficult. And any woman that was found that didn't have a profession or lost her husband in this area of town, in the, what was it, Whitechapel? In this area, they pretty much were forced to whore themselves out in order to...
Up in here.
They said that...
you know how much they got per lay?
Oh, no. Do you got this one?
I do. A penny.
A penny?
But I mean, a penny bought you a lot.
A night?
This is the other interesting. Yes, no, 4 pennies would get you a night in an inn.
Oh, so you got
1
4 lays.
penny would get you a rope. Do you know what a rope is?
No.
They had rooms of people where you could relax on 2 ropes. It was kind of like a the thing everyone falls into and can't get, hammock.
Oh.
But without the material in the middle.
So they had to.
So you would just lay on. You just had to lay on these ropes in a room with like 8 other people. But 1 penny would get you a room with a rope. And you could lay on the rope with several of your best buds. For 4 pennies, you could get your own room you shared with a lot of people, but it had a bed.
This was a rookery, which is a slum back then.
Oh.
And it seems like they were like crammed in there. So like if you're crammed in this, it's in the summer, so it's sweaty and hot. People are probably not sleeping. Everyone's dirty, and there's disease going around.
Everyone's doing it. Everyone's doing it, folks. 1888, the year of doing it.
And no medical practice and essentially no birth control. So this is where people would go just to, nice squeak. You worked on that squeak.
No, I just did it. I'm using my abs, though. A lot of ab work for the squeaks.
Yeah. So that you can tell there's probably a lot of people actually walking around at night, but it's really dark. It's gaslight,
Nasty, not a lot of lit areas, a lot of seedy stuff. I don't know if you got into the Canon 5. Did you get into any similarities they had?
Hold on.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm jumping ahead.
Yeah, jumping ahead there.
Well, how about this? Let's say Jack the Ripper apparently killed, dismembered, and maimed 5 women that we know of. And the same night or the morning after, their bodies would show up on either a doorstep, and in their and in their own bed, the 5th one.
Really? I thought there was one that was murdered in a square. So like these squares are straight about.
Well, I think from what I understand, even the square ones, he puts them like ritually in like a doorway or something, or like somewhere to the side, like not in the middle of.
Well, I mean, if he's going to kill somebody, he's going to take them off to the side. Like he's pretty much gutting them after he slits their throat and pulls out their guts. And they thought he was medically trained in some fashion because he would he would take out their female parts.
We can get into that.
Yeah. But you distracted me.
I'm just saying, I was trying to lay it out for the people who don't know Jack the Ripper. From Adam, as we say. It's in the business. But so he's doing all this. It's over 6 month span. A big thing at the time is newspapers. Newspapers are going nuts over this.
Hysteria.
I think this is the biggest newspaper pimp job of all time.
You think someone's getting readership because they don't know what's going on?
Oh my God! Apparently, the press was more of a deterrent to finding out who this guy was than anything else. It was like the big thing. I think because how long have newspapers been around? 1700s? I don't know.
I don't even know. Printing press.
Let's say they hit their stride in 1888 in London. Huh?
I'm curious.
Don't look up the Gutenberg press. That's like that's. I want to know what's common newspapers. Like, who has newspapers every day?
The rotary press is 1843, offset printing, 1875, hot metal typesetting, which sounds like the best one, 1884.
Interesting.
Yeah, so maybe.
So now we're finally getting newspapers every day for an area. I'm talking journalists. We got jobs for interviewers. We got this scumbag journalists, the ones who like crawl up to your house and are like, "What was she wearing when she was murdered?" And you're crying, and they're taking notes and getting it hot, ready for the press. Journos, as we call them, journos.
Interesting.
Hate a journo, but anyway, apparently, once the first murder happened, it was a coincidence. I don't remember her name. You may have it, it may not. She was killed and I believe barely maimed. I want to say he did something to her, but nothing crazy.
Talk about Martha?
What was the last name?
Martha Tabram, Marianne Nichols, Annie
Nichols
Chaplin.
Nichols is the first one I recognize. Canon 5. Okay. Excuse me.
All right, sure.
Anyway, when he killed again, I believe there were 2 in one night. They called it the
double whammy.
Yeah, but they called it something. It wasn't the double whammy. The episode, the discourse.
Double event? Double event.
I think it might have been.
Yeah, it's a double event.
Okay. So he killed 2 women in one night. And they're
Elizabeth Stride and Catherine Eddowes.
Yes, correct. And they think it was all within a few hours of each other.
Mm-hmm.
So this guy's up in the ante. At that time, there was hysteria going on, and the newspapers were feeding it like crazy. To my knowledge, people couldn't get enough information. They started doing something in these papers that hadn't been done before. They drew diagrams of where these things happened and printed it in all the papers. So you could check out, Horton Street and whatever, and they drew a little X in a diagram. And, body found it here in Cadaver Street. I call it Cadaver Street. Clever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But, it was selling like crazy. And then I think they started saying clues are coming into our detectives. They're coming into the police force. They're coming into the night watch. And rumor has it that there was a letter. Let me.
Whoa. Let's get into the letters later.
Oh, go ahead.
Do the letters as a batch. We'll come back to the letters.
Okay. We'll do letters. Either way, the press was all over this shit, and people couldn't get enough of it. I think people were feeding into it. People were going nuts. It was like all the talk of the town.
The crazy thing is that there's probably people out there that are so determined that to get out of the streets, but they just can't because they're financially linked to whoring themselves out. At one point, they said that the prettier prostitutes were getting put in cat houses and staying in cat houses to protect themselves, where the ugly ones were standing on the streets waiting to make some sweet love to make some money so they could get off the streets.
Sweet love.
So the uglier ones were just hanging around trying to get inside.
Can you tell us, when you say ugly ones, like 28? Double D's?
They said that most of the women that were prostitutes were actually the ones that were targeted were in their 30s or 40s. So these are 40s,
not actually.
Yeah, because they're
5.
Ugliness and age might go hand in hand. I'm not sure.
No, I'm not saying they do. I'm saying
either,
but 45, homely. All of the
multiple
victims
children?
were actually all alcoholics.
I did notice that. I guess they made them easier targets to approach.
Kind of does. Plus, they're stuck in that rut. They can be easily persuaded, followed, I guess, killed.
Yeah, the first one was 47. The second one was 44. The third one was 32. And the last one, 25. Maybe.
Was she in her bed? Yeah, that was her in her bed.
Yeah, I was lying in her bed.
Yep. Was that Mary Kelly?
That was Mary Kelly, yes.
I call her MK. The thing I have.
Poor MK.
She's gorgeous.
The picture, I don't know if this is a real picture, but it looks horrible, man.
Yeah, that's MK. That's a picture. That's a police photograph. We'll get into that.
Ugh. Oof. I don't know if I could show that. I might have to.
No, don't. We don't need. Someone can look it up. Just look up Mary Kelly.
Yeah.
No, don't. Don't even look it up.
No.
Anyway, people probably been watching, being like, "Yo, give me the deets. I want to know how he killed these girls. Did he cut off their boobies or whatever?" Like people who watch Seven and stuff, who think that stuff's cool. I love the movie Seven. But
yes.
Brad Pitt.
Yep. Morgan Freeman.
We all love that movie. But the thing is, that's a movie. That's cool. In real life, serial killers are it's a little dark. It kind of put me in a bad mood. I was listening to podcasts and YouTubes and everything in one ear with my wireless headphones while I was walking my son to like the park area and everything. And I was just like so depressed. And he would grab my hand and he'd be like, "Dada, come on, let's go over here." And I'd be like, "Yeah." And he'd be like, and he cut Mary Kelly in half and reached into her intestines and pulled them over her left shoulder. And I was like, It was just a bummer listening. So I don't know if it's because I have kids now. I've gone soft. Like I don't like to hear about too much murder and gruesomeness, but he's a gruesome individual.
It's kind of amazing that it's hard to believe that he went straight to this. Like he went to slitting throats, pulling organs out, and then taking pieces. Like he started taking a kidney, ears, and all sorts.
Almost feels like you start with just regular murder and then move up to that. Like, is that what you're getting at?
Yeah, you think there's a progression of some sort.
You would think. Before we get into serial killers in general, let's finish up a little bit here on Jack.
We got more on Jack, man.
Oh, I know we do. We got plenty of Jack, folks. We're going to get you to jack off. We're going to jack off in every direction. It's going to be jack off. It's going to be jack off city in here, okay? Just everyone listen in. We're going to jack you off, okay? Let's get Jack. Get you off, folks.
Yeah.
Jack off now. Everyone chanting at home. Jack off now. Okay, stop chanting. We're going to give it to you.
So you want to go to the letters? The letters are interesting.
Actually. Do you know the one he got his name from?
Is it the From Hell or is it the Dear Boss?
Not From Hell, Dear Boss.
Dear Boss. Do you want to read it or should I? There we can go back and forth.
You do Dear Boss. I'll do the other one.
Dear Boss, I keep on hearing the police have caught me, but they won't fix me just yet. I've laughed when they look so clever and talk about being on the right track. The joke about Leather Apron, that's a guy in the neighborhood that was apparently like no good. You know he's a dirty man, but they couldn't pin him on anything. So Leather Apron they arrested that guy instead of Jack the Ripper. So the joke about Leather Apron gave me the real fits. I am down on whores and I shan't quit ripping them till I get buckled. Grand work on the last job was. I gave the lady no time to squeal. How can they catch me now? I love my work and want to start again. You will soon hear of me with my funny little games. They always have such weird text in this. I saved some of the proper red stuff in ginger beer bottle over the last job to write with, but it went thick with like glue, and I can't use it. I'm talking about blood. I'm trying to write with blood. Red ink is fit enough, I hope. Ha ha. The next job I do, I shall clip the lady's ears off and send to the police officers just for jolly, wouldn't you? Keep this letter back till I do a bit more work, then give it out straight. My knife's so nice and sharp, I want to get to work right away if I get a chance. Good luck. Yours truly, Jack the Ripper. Don't mind me giving the trade name. P.S. Wasn't good enough to post this letter before I got all the red ink off my hands. Curse it. No luck yet. They say I'm a doctor now. Ha ha. Stream of consciousness, just like blurting out like I'm a cocky effer.
It's interesting because I've heard that one's a hoax. I've heard it's not. Now, did you know pieces of the next victim's ear were missing?
Yeah. That's why they didn't believe it until it actually happened. And it's like, how could they possibly know?
Could be a lucky guess. Could not be. At the time, because of the news thing I was talking about, how everyone wanted to read about it, everyone wanted to copycat it, everyone wanted to talk about it.
Part of it, yeah.
They received 100 letters in a month, I believe, that were all from Jack the Ripper. They didn't call themselves Jack the Ripper, everybody. That letter did. A lot of others called themselves the Leather Killer, the Whitechapel Murderer. They all said all different things. They claimed different things. I killed 80 people. They said all these crazy things. And no one knows who's just writing bullshit and who's really this murderer who's dialing in. Interestingly enough, that was one of the letters they were like, this is garbage. Let's throw it away. Until whoever's ear showed up missing, and they were like, let's go back to that letter and check it out.
Yeah. They're like, wait, well, let's see if anything matches up. And they're like, well, this guy said he actually would do it, and it happened. So
interestingly enough, it sounds very educated. That's what I will say about that letter at the time. Right?
It is awareness. There's an awareness there that he's being tracked.
Oh, it's intelligent, educated. There's something going on there, which I don't know if I think it's him or not, but interesting. Mm-hmm. So I'll read the other one that I think was my favorite.
Yes.
Did not include the name Jack the Ripper.
It's strange, too.
By the way, that's
Signs.
the only letter. The press got a hold of this letter that you just read and ran with it. It was Jack the Ripper headlines, and everyone started calling him Jack the Ripper. Regardless of whether his name was Jack the Ripper or not, it became synonymous with him.
I don't know. Do you know why they picked the name Jack?
He did.
He said Jack.
Didn't it say Jack the Ripper?
Why do you think he picked Jack?
Whoever this writer is. We don't know if it's the killer or not. It just could be someone said this is the press. A lot of theories. Because the press wanted to feed their own machine. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Can you imagine if the press
set this up?
No. But can you imagine if the press was just sending in one of 40 letters along with 40 strangers' letters, and coincidentally, instead of cutting just her eyelids or whatever, he cut off her ear? Maybe even because he read it. Do you know what I mean?
They picked all different body parts until they were right. So all the possibilities. Possible.
I don't know.
Possible.
I don't know. And then if they did and they did get it right, that's $1 million card. You run with that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I don't know. My favorite letter actually went to... I'm going to mess up the name of the group. Mr. Lusk.
So Lusk, yeah, well, he was part
what
of
did he
the
run?
Whitechapel Vigilance Committee.
Okay, so they, because the police couldn't patrol everything. Yep. They had a vigilance committee that would roam the streets at night, look out for the ladies, the men, everybody, patrolling. I'm out for this Ripper guy. Well, his name was Mr. Lusk.
He happened to be like the president at the time, I believe. Just happened to be. He didn't. Yeah.
I didn't. Interesting. Well, one letter came addressed to him, and it had a human kidney in it, half of the human kidney. They didn't have DNA tests back in the time, so no one's sure whose it was, but one of the murdered was missing a kidney, so
yeah,
pretty good.
Tied it together.
From hell. Period. I love that.
This is all weird, strangely. It's all strangely okay.
This one I think is real. From hell. Period. Stop. Mr. Lusk. Sore. I send you half the kidney I took from one man, 2 men I persaved it, must be preserved it for you to their peace. I fried and ate it. It was very nice. I may send you the bloody knife that took it out if you only wait a while longer. Signed, catch me if you can, Mr. Lusk. Oof, dark.
You read into, so this guy is the head of the committee.
Handwriting.
Yeah, the handwriting is crazy.
Mr. Lusk. Uh-huh.
They did say that the handwriting was fairly consistent among the 3 letters. It was the third one. And that, so this guy was getting a bunch of letters, and he was the head. So he got a lot of them. He said he got like thousands of letters. And when he got this one, he read it, looked at the kidney, and then didn't really think of anything. he thought it wasn't, he's like some sort of like, darn. Yeah, this is a hoax.
Like a goat kidney or something.
Yeah.
Right. I can see that.
Some sort of, how many kidneys do you think this guy's getting?
Do you think he ever got like a finger and it was like, I hate you, Lusk? And he was like,
the middle finger. And
he just threw it. He's like,
tired of this crap.
A hoax. Yeah, this is bullshit.
So this guy didn't do anything until somehow he found out that like one of the women had lost a kidney, and he's like, well, I found this kidneys in a letter I got.
He held it up, it matched. It was like, the edges are perfect. Wow.
They actually never matched the kidney, but they could tell it was from the same side and the same portion. But they're like, I guess since he ate the other half of it, technically, there's nothing to match it to.
So he said. I still don't know.
I don't know. It just sounded a little bit like he's like schizophrenic or something.
Showmanship, weird, like show-offy.
Yeah. And the spelling of things is all messed up in that one.
I think that's Old English, though.
Maybe. But the other one was pretty straightforward.
No, trust me, it is.
One. Okay.
It's because Old English at the time and English at the time were kind of a transfer languages and spelling and all that. I'm not going to get into it. I was an English major, not a big deal. What's interesting then is that 3 murders happen, a 4th murder happens, and the 5th murder was the most gruesome of all. They think he had the Mary Kelly one. Yeah. They think he had roughly an hour with some of these women, and he would cut them always left to right around the throat.
And then back again. I heard it was twice.
I don't know. Was it officially that way?
I read that somewhere.
Some were deep enough to the bone in the back.
That's terrible.
Terrible, but I guess it's good they're dead, because then he would, like one time he cut someone like from their vagina up to their boob, just like whoosh. Like people were saying it's a very I hate women type thing. Like I hate women. I want to cut all their women parts. I hate them. He cut off someone's eyelids. I forget which one. All I know is the last one, Mary Kelly, was in her bed, and he had like all night with her, and he really diced her up. Oftentimes, I want to say 3 or 4 of the 5 times, he would cut open their stomach and just throw their intestines over their own shoulder, over their left shoulder every time.
Yeah, he'd like toss them away, like he didn't even care.
Well, this becomes a little important in one of the theories I read, but he would take their guts and throw it over their own shoulder and
smear it too. Yeah. Like he'd put, like fecal matter would come out, and then he'd like smear it all over their body and stuff.
Check this detail though. In all the murders except the Mary Kelly one in her bed, I think there was a lot of blood there. In the previous 4 murders that were also gruesome, cutting guts, everything, they found, I believe one detective reported less than 2 glasses of wine's worth of blood.
It seems like not a lot of blood. I thought the body held
at
like
all.
5 pints?
At least. The body holds at least 5 pints of blood.
Oh.
Two 6-ounce glasses. You talking 12 ounces of blood?
6 to 8 pints.
Okay, that's what I thought. So
I would say maybe if you're gonna kill somebody, how much blood's probably gonna reside in their body? Maybe a couple pints.
Especially a violent cut.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going everywhere. That's why no one's 100% sure where he did the murders.
Because there wasn't enough blood in the area?
Not at all. Apparently, like 2 wine glasses is like 10 or 12 ounces of blood.
It's like
there should be like 100 ounces of blood all around. Especially the gruesome nature of these things.
Yeah.
They think he found them, followed them, it killed them somewhere over a drape. I don't even know. Yeah. So people started speculizing. Is that a real word? Did I make that up?
Speculating.
Thank you. I had a couple drinks.
Yeah.
Speculating. Started speculating that he was a butcher. He was a doctor turned rogue, a psycho doctor. He was a scientist.
He was a barber. Because he had the knives.
Oh, the barber, yes. Yeah. And they figured it was 7-inch blades. My favorite, again, this has to do with the press. One guy said he was pretty sure it was done by a left-handed man, which is, at the time, less than 15% of the population was left-handed. Right?
It still is, yeah.
Right. Now I think it's a little more common to be left-handed, but back then, if you were left-handed, they tried to make you right-handed. Like you were told to sit on your left hand and write with your right hand. My grandfather, who's not from 1880s, had to do this.
26% is today. Slightly more.
So back in the day, it was probably 10 to 15. But the press heard this and ran with it to the point where the doctor the next day, I think, said he might be right-handed. I could be wrong. And no one cared. It was like the left-handed killer for a while. Again, this whole newspaper craze, it was the first time something went viral, if I may say so.
It's interesting because then people start taking note of everyone else.
That is left-handed, and which may even be a fake fact. He might not even be goddamn left-handed, and people are looking for a left-handed murderer, which I think is fascinating.
And the most interesting thing is that they thought he was local because there's no way that you could evade people that well. And also, one of the letters that was sent, the one to Mr. Lusk, it was someone. So, like, there's no way to look up where someone lives. They don't have phones. So, like, to get an address for somebody, they actually had a story. No, he had to walk into like a post and get a letter and ask where his address was. And one of the women said that there was a strange fellow that came in and abruptly left asking for his address. But they couldn't really like tell who that was. They were like disheveled and they couldn't really tell, and then they disappeared. And then the next day, that's when the kidney arrived. All
right. So some of the big suspects, let's go into that, suspected who it was, who the police thought it was, who the public thought it was. Mm-hmm. Did you know after like the 3rd or 4th murder, people, like women especially, I don't blame them, prostitutes and stuff, they would just, anyone who was wearing odd clothes that night that came into their pub establishment, anyone who was from out of town, anyone who had a weird accent, anyone who just looked weird or acted strange, like the women would scream and be like, it's Jack the Ripper. And a lot of people got beat up back in the day because like an angry mob, because I mean, everyone's reading about this. Like, that's the guy. That's a freaking guy, dude. He's left-handed. I got him. And people would just beat people and like stone them. Cause I guess if you can't read someone, you throw rocks at them back in the day.
I don't know. That's what I would do. I mean, what else are you going to do?
Right. And then, you know, what's your defense? He's Jack the Ripper. Like, the police aren't going to beat up the whole crowd. So lots of crowds were beating people up at the time. Like, it's mass hysteria, quite literally. And again, because of the newspaper, I'm very big on this whole newspaper thing. It's fueling this whole thing. If it wasn't for that, everyone would be talking about it. Everyone wouldn't be in hysteria. It's almost like the first big Kardashian story. You know what I mean? It's like, ooh, everyone can't get enough of this. Jack the Ripper. Love him.
Can't be that big. There's no way that booty's that big.
That's a big booty that Jack's cutting up. No way.
So you want to start at the beginning? The list of possible suspects is really long because they started trying to pin it on everybody, it seems. There's this one guy.
The list in Wikipedia is 100 people long. So if you read any story, which, by the way, they've made 1,800 movies, plays. In London, it's as big as Sherlock Holmes. You just make a Jack the Ripper fantasy fiction story. It's good. Hey, greenlighted. It's good. No one knows who he is. Go with it. Hey, no one knows. Go with it. It's women. Go with it. It was the mayor. Go with it. I don't know. Like, people just start.
Yeah. You say Sherlock Holmes. I think Sherlock Holmes might have spun off of this because I think it came 10 years later. There might not be a true connection, but it seems like in chronologically.
That makes sense
so.
To me. Someone wants a detective that's as mysterious as the killer, like to search for the killer.
Sherlock Holmes is based off a real medical doctor who could solve
in London, right? Mm-hmm. Gruesome, crazy murders. Holy smokes, folks!
Wow, connections. So the first guy, Montague John Druitt, he was the first guy.
Interesting.
Unfortunately,
he
died.
Committed suicide.
Yeah. They said
he committed suicide a week after Mary Kelly was found dead.
Yeah,
in the river,
which matches the timeline. But when the police chief was like, "We got this guy. We think he's the one. He's a 41-year-old doctor and
virgin, by the way."
Yeah, virgin. But then they go on to say, "Oh no, he's homosexual. He was schizophrenic or something, and he was a 31-year-old barrister." And it's like, wait, that doesn't. Are you sure? And they're like, "We're not really sure. We don't really know. Oh, it maybe not really seriously."
Interesting.
Yeah, they had no idea if this guy was really the guy. And a lot of the people, like, it seems like they were more likely a killer than this guy was. He was just suffering from mental health issues and happened to die right at the time.
He was a loon. He was a loon of the time.
Yeah, he's
Loons at the time get pinned on everything.
What do you call it? Like a post, what's the word?
Victim?
After the fact.
Victim after the fact?
Yeah, yeah.
Like he's dead and like there's a crime and you're like,
crime's be ended when he died, yeah.
Although, interestingly enough, if you did kill this woman in a really gruesome manner and you had any semblance of morality, you might kill yourself a week later.
You might.
I wouldn't be surprised.
The Mary Kelly one, I don't think he could survive mentally after that one.
Right, so I don't know. Not saying he is, not isn't. I don't know.
Not living.
Battle with yourself.
You got a suspect? Who do you think?
So I watched a documentary by Stephen Knight. This one's real interesting because it came out, I want to say, 10, 15 years ago. Someone look it up for me. I don't know. Let me know. It's called Jack the Ripper, The Final Solution. It was a real big deal. This dude spent, I want to say, 1 to 3 years just researching. He didn't write anything down. He just researched. Just writing everything down, every piece of information you can find, every little manuscript you can find. A lot of the police records have been since deleted. Ironically enough,
year is this?
I want to say this is 8 to 10 years ago. I have no idea. It could be 15 to 20 years ago. It's within.
I know which one you're going to talk about.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
It's called The Final Solution.
Is this Francis?
No, his name's. What's Francis?
The suspect. Tumblety?
I don't.
That guy? Oh, guys,
royalty? Is it royalty?
I don't know. Keep going. I'll fill you in, Francis.
All right, fill me in if I'm wrong or not. Anyway, this guy, he read every scientific note, every doctor's note. Most of the information he gathers is actually from newspapers. I hate to go back there, but because a lot of the police records got destroyed, but the newspapers didn't, and the articles had a lot of detail in them. So he came to the conclusion that there were definitely only 5, and that the only thing no one talked about was that the 5 were related. These 5 women. I'm not adhering to this theory, but he thinks they were all friendly or spent a drunk night together and talked about something that one of them saw. So we did a little digging. I forget which one it was because I wasn't paying attention. I was hanging out with my son. But you can look it up. Stephen Knight, The Final Solution. I watch it. He claims the king at the time of England or whatever, like, it's a bad time. You just mentioned the 1880s. It's really crappy. Everyone hates the government. Everyone's poor. People are barely making it through. Well, the heir to be, I forget his name. He's very in love with this woman who's a Catholic. He's Anglican. She's Catholic. They get married. They have a kid. They're not really supposed to have a kid. They had a secret wedding. You can look it all up. They use assumed names. He does a lot of research. I'm not sure if he's right or not. The idea is eventually the king and queen and whoever else, royalty, figure out about this. And they say, no, we can't have this. If everyone finds out you're friggin' having babies with a Catholic in wedlock before you're 25 years old, these people are gonna go nuts. They don't make minimum wage. They're going crazy. So to get rid of everything, they tried to kill the woman and the baby. They kind of failed. They killed the baby, they think, and the woman disappeared during this raid.
She ever reappeared?
So they think she changed her name and appeared in Whitechapel.
Huh. It's strange how everyone kind of goes to Whitechapel to disappear. It's the seediest place on the planet.
Right. Other interesting thing is this royal person, whoever he is, I'm not 100% sure his name. You can, again, look it up. You know who his best friend was? A painter. Do you know his name? The painter who painted all those murder scenes.
No.
Yeah, we discussed it before the podcast turned on.
Holy shit.
Windhurst. He paints. He's a painter. He's one of the suspects.
Walter. You're talking about Sickert?
Yeah,
Walter Sickert.
Yes, Walter Sickert. So his best friend was Walter Sickert at the time.
They did suspect that it might be multiple people.
Hold on. This guy who researched this subject for many years says that Walter Sickert and this royal gentleman, I'm sorry I didn't pay attention to the damn name.
Joseph Gorman?
Maybe.
That was the guy who concocted the theory.
No, Stephen Knight it's his documentary.
Portrait of a Killer?
It's called The Final Solution. I released it.
Okay, keep going.
All right. Anyway, they concocted that this woman, however she got away, was going to blackmail to be king. So she was like, hey, guess what? You had sex with me. We had a kid. It was out of wedlock. If you don't pay me and my girls, and she was now in Whitechapel with like prostitutes, hanging out with whatever. She told 3 or 4 or 5 women about her relationship, her baby. And the 3 people included are him, the chief of police at the time, and some third person who had to do with checking out the bodies. And they think all 3 worked together to cut these women apart, make sure they never talked, never said anything, or never challenged the throne. Again, it's kind of a goofy conspiracy theory, but there were a lot of pieces that connected everything.
So I was thinking about the first one. The first one, I don't know if Martha Tabram was a canonical person, like one of the 5. She was stabbed multiple times. So that maybe like you're trying to get a confession out of that person. And then Mary Ann Nichols, I think, is one of the canonical ones.
She was the first one. Yeah, she was the first canonical one.
I heard a story about her. It's like it was very often that you had a drunkard that was sleeping in the streets, and then like a cart would come by and hit that person, and then he'd be like, "Get out of the road!" Yeah, and it turns out that the first person they found actually dead instead of drunk, and they're like, "Oh,"
they hit her, and they're like, "Oh, get on the road!" Oh, she's dead.
Oh, she's But there's no. I don't know if there's a reason to find out that maybe if you are killing these people, you have to find out information from them before you kill them. So it seems like most of these people were killed almost instantly.
So, okay, there's two reasonable explanations for a serial killer in general, whether it be Jack the Ripper or not. He's either trying to get information, trying to silence information, which makes sense to us normal people, or they have this weird sexual, crazy disconnect with the human race.
So I would say like the sexual portion gets fused with some sort of like maniacal active attack method. So,
but I mean animalistic, like not even human.
Definitely.
There's no logic. It's very...
No emotions whatsoever.
Which, what's the definition of someone with no emotional connection?
Psychopath.
Right?
Yeah.
Did you want to get into psychopaths at all? I didn't know. Or serial killers in general.
There's the Francis Tumblety guy that I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
He was, so he was American, and he had traveled there and had been in the area at the time of the murders. He was an Indian herb doctor who was a quack. So one of those.
Right. He's selling bullcrap. Mm-hmm.
But he also loved to collect, human body parts for some reason. So he would collect wombs and,
interesting.
Yeah. Over all sorts of like the female body parts. And he was quoted to say that he had every class of woman collected. So it's like, this guy is nuts.
So if we go a little deeper into Jack the Ripper murders or gruesome dismemberments, a lot of people said 2 or 3 of the murders ended in like really surgical precision removals of organs.
Yes.
Like one was a uterus. They removed the entire uterus but didn't touch the bladder, which is pretty much connected. If you were just like some Joe Schmo on the street, you don't know how to do that.
Yeah, which makes sense because have you ever tried to like cut open like a frog or something?
Organs?
Like, no.
Yeah. What? Were you my frog partner in AP Bio?
You could have been. It was extremely tough to cut through that frog. I'll tell you that.
I think you were my partner, and I think I made you do the cutting because it was.
You're directing where to cut.
No. I just didn't want to cut it. I was like, I don't want to cut the frog.
So you don't know what the frog cutting is like.
No, but what's really weird is it wasn't you. I'm serious.
I don't remember who the other person.
You were my
I was too enthralled in cutting open that frog, man.
Oh God. I started your serial killer rampage.
Oh,
but how weird is it? We've come full circle with the podcast. Yeah. I really want to know if you.
I don't know how we'll ever know.
I think you were my frog partner.
I'll take it. I believe it. So this guy. Like, the police couldn't catch him because he fled to France. That's the guy I think it's got to be. They're like, we figured out who it is. And then the guy's like, I got body parts everywhere. And they're like, boop, he's gone.
There's another big suspect. Do you know H.H. Holmes?
No. Where is he?
He's one of the most notorious serial killers of American history. America, you say? This is London. H.H. Holmes, born, who the hell knows? You could probably look it up. He changed his name. Was a con man. Changed his name, did a lot of insurance scams, a lot of real estate scams. He was just a scam man, but he also may or may not have been involved in a lot of murders during his time being. I say may or may not because
27 murders.
Hold on, because yes, he inherited a drugstore where he started working at like 27 in New York, I want to say. Anyway, he took over the drugstore. And from there afforded what's called the Hell Castle. I don't even know. The Murder Castle. Again, newspapers had a lot to do with this. This is around 1880s. Sound familiar? Should.
Oh,
yeah. He had a castle that had 100 rooms. The lower you went, the crazier these rooms got. And he would set up trap doors and torture stuff and gas chambers and he was a bad dude, but like he was getting away with
stuff going on back then.
Right, because scientific evidence and forensics didn't catch up. This is the beginning of forensics.
Do you know what the murder solve rate back then was?
No, I don't.
So 1965 is the earliest record I could find of people solving murders. Okay. And it was at a 90% failure rate. So 10% of the murders were being solved. So you could, if you were Jack the Ripper and killing 5 people, then you have a 40%, no wait, it's either 40 or 60% chance of not getting caught.
60, I think it's 60.
60% chance of not being caught.
Because every murder is a 10%. Right?
Yeah, so 40% chance of actually being caught. So you have a coin flip of whether you can kill 5 people and get away with it.
Less than a coin flip. That's awesome.
That's crazy.
Anyway, just real quick with this Holmes guy, he kept a diary. He disappeared for a while, for like a year. The diary says he went to London for a year and a half. The only funny thing is, the only person in possession of that diary was his son, who is selling a book that can make millions off of this, and he will not produce the evidence.
No.
So it could be total bullshit. But if the guy did disappear for 1 full year, and he is responsible for 27 actual serial killer murders in America, it's not too far-fetched to think he would do it somewhere else.
The nuts part about it is that you start reading about all these people that were like, either they're crazy and they tried to pin it on them, or they actually killed people. And they killed like 3 people. Like one guy poisoned 3 of his wives. It's like by the 3rd wife, you're like, what the hell? Like you've got to figure it out by then. 2nd wife, you should be on that guy.
Right. Another one poisoned.
Yeah. That just doesn't happen around here. I don't know why.
The Jameson wife died. The same one? No, another one. What a coincidence. Yeah, I know.
Within a year? Within 1 year? That's quick. Man.
Crazy.
They got to stop poisoning themselves.
Something's wrong with that house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's just nuts.
So let's get into serial killers just a little bit.
Let me see. I got some special stats.
I know you do. You sent me a PDF.
I was amazed that they must research this stuff.
They must, of course they do. It's like murdering millions of people. Now, what is considered a serial killer? Is it 3 or more, or 2 or more?
So they actually break it down: 2 or more, or 3 or more.
Ooh, which one's a real serial killer?
So let's pick the most recent year. Let's do the average by the decade. Let's do 2000 through 2009. The definition of a serial killer: 2 or more. There were 79 serial killers. 3 or more, there were 54.
I like 3 or more. 54 people
were killing 3 or more people.
Now, hold on. Does that count as? Is it?
These are the people that were caught. I think
it has to be 3 or more, not at one time, though, right?
Yeah,
because it's not a serial kill if you kill 4 people in a room at once.
Yeah, mass execution. I don't know if that counts.
Nah, that can't count. It has to be 3 separate murders, because that's. Serial.
That would make sense, yeah. I don't know if that definition is listed here.
But it makes sense to me. Just saying. For the folks at home.
That's what I'll believe. I'll believe that.
And I'll stand by that. People, if you're going to be a serial killer, kill one person, wait a little bit, kill another person. Don't be killing everyone at once.
Yeah, and this is a Radford University study, so this is pretty serious.
Radford's real good. Radford represent. Just real quick aside, if I ever had a kid and he grew up to go to college, I would think Radford first. Radford puts ideals and technology ahead of a lot of other things. I know their tuition seems high, but I feel like Radford stood by me and helped me in my situation. So thank you, Radford. And if you want to donate, we have a Patreon. It's in the mentions. Everything else.
If you want to contribute to the Patreon, we'll make sure you get all these documents, all the things we're reading, because there are a lot of different sources.
Got some documents for Radford. I'm just saying it's for other colleges too. If they'll send money to our Patreon. But anyway, moving on. I'm sorry.
So there's maybe 2 or 3 things that this document says that are really interesting. In the 1900s or 19. This is
by the way, I saw when serial killers peaked. That was the funniest thing in the whole thing.
The peak was what, 80s?
1870s to 1910s. I want to say it was all these serial killers, and then it kind of went down, which we all know is because of evidence, right? And forensic studying and all that stuff, I think.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess it's necessary.
Right.
So the one stat was that I don't know, it's such a small number because I guess it goes back way back.
Mm-hmm.
But in 1900, there were 9 men and 14 women serial killers. So that was the only year that women outnumbered men as serial killers.
Oh, only time.
Yeah. So, I mean, it stays pretty much consistent for the women, but maybe the women got better at lying.
Good point.
Yeah.
I think women are better at lying.
Slanted rules for the law. I went crazy.
I corral them women.
I'm just going to run over them 3 times. It's not my fault.
Hold on, though. You did have serial killers.
You're going to go to the
gender by decade.
Oh, where's that?
Gender by decade. Holy hell.
I see that
so
one.
I know you said women and men kind of evened out.
Uh-huh.
Well, as of 2010 decade,
it's ridiculously slanted. Yeah, it's 92% men.
It's bad. Can you give the number to make it more real for people?
104 men were serial killers in 2010, in that decade.
Oh, weird. I got U.S. and international. That must be the next page.
The U.S. is worse.
Hold on. So I have 214 men were considered serial killers.
Oh, you have combined,
200, yeah. Right. 214. So how many women? Like 100?
16.
200? 16 women total. Oh, men. Shout out, men. You're better at everything. Even serial killing.
So why do you think they kill? This study actually defines that. It's beautiful.
Hold on. What about, oh, damn, dude. It's got it broken down to bomb, strangle, poison, stab.
By intelligence.
Bludgeon. Whoa.
So the smartest person does the bombing.
So, damn, I was going to say, hold on. Oh.
If you're an idiot, you're bludgeoning somebody. That's what
hold on. It breaks it down intelligence by murder.
Yeah.
Not just intelligence murder, intelligence by murder. Hold on.
It's crazy.
Bring that up for everyone at home or whatever.
Serial killer IQ, page 12.
Oh my God, this makes sense.
You have a friend.
No. Just the lowest IQ serial killer bludgeons their victims to death.
They don't know what else to dig.
With a heavy object. The highest IQ over average serial killer bombs their victims.
It's crazy because it jumps by like 30 points. Like these people are able to build really precise traps in order to kill people.
Right.
And some of these guys are really smart. It's weird that they're so intelligent that they just lose their minds and kill people.
Check this one out. Number of confirmed kills. 2 is like an 89 IQ. Like that's not bad. Like whatever. I guess that's all right. More than 5 is a 99.
Yeah.
Round IQ.
Yep. It's about the same.
10 points higher.
Yeah.
No, it's 10 points higher when you kill 5 or more people.
It doesn't take that much more.
You're also you're also smart enough to not get caught if you've killed 5 people.
Yeah, but look at the next stat. If you're around the 99 point, it means that you probably committed necrophilia.
That's insane.
Yeah.
So
slightly dumber, you're probably not going to commit necrophilia.
That's insane. One of the other. This brings me back to the
motives?
Jack the Ripper motives. They said one of the people was the painter, who you said his name 8 times now. I didn't listen either time.
Walter
Sickert.
Yep. Sickert with an S.
Someone said he drew paintings of the murders. But not someone who said he really did. There were some things that people say he couldn't have seen. How did he know to draw them? I don't know. I'm not here to judge because his drawing sucked. I looked up all his paintings. It was like when you draw in 1880, if you drew like a circle with like legs, like it was a person. So shout out 1880, London. You weren't.
He's probably pissed Picasso. Too because like photos were becoming more normal. Like he's like standing there painting something and someone just like snaps a photo. He's like prick, and then
I'll kill you.
Yeah, if you're a woman and prostitute in the mid 30s,
mid 40s.
Yeah,
but I read a story about him where he had several surgeries on his penis and he became impotent. Like it didn't work. And I was like, that doesn't mean he's... Oh, yeah, it does.
Yeah.
And I thought, what's the cause of serial killers?
It's mostly
And
sex.
ironically, what you just said, aggravation, pent-up frustration.
Yeah, it's 50-50 for sexual assault during serial killering.
So what I found also interesting is, I don't know if it's in the study, but think of all the people who get serial killed.
Mm-hmm.
It's always people in the weakest. It's weaker people. So it's a power thing, correct?
It's
Think about
definitely
it. How many serial killers are out there killing 28-year-old basketball players or 25-year-old white men who have BMWs? I don't know.
This is in the study. It
Oh, is
actually,
okay, please
it's
do.
at late teens
I feel like
until
it's women and children, I feel like, are the number one targets.
Oh man!
Weak women.
So the serial killers themselves are from the late teens until the early 30s. So it's in like the sexual prime. So it's like kind of linked up with your sexual idea.
Okay.
And that was like a full 2 percentage points above everything else. Like once you get older, it's like the chance that you get killed by a serial killer is like really low. Or chance that you become a serial killer is also really low too.
Okay. So serial killing seems to be linked to sexuality and linked to power, I would think.
Yeah, and I don't know how the distribution of people is. It does say that the sex and race of the white female is 37% of the serial killer's victims, and the white male is 30%. So most of these things are perpetrated by people who are white, who are men, on white females and white men in the same age bracket.
So I will venture a guess. I don't know this. I've never done studies. I think it's a cultural frustration. Like, you don't see a lot of people immigrants who come to a new country trying to make ends meet. They're not usually a serial killer. A serial killer is someone who usually has means to an end and can't get it off.
So you're wondering about the broad motives.
Sure, the motives. Let's go with it. You got motives page?
I do. This is the best study I found. This is amazing. I love Radford University.
Radner.
Thank you. So the top, I'm going to go top to bottom. Enjoyment, it's like thrill, lust, and power. 31%. 32, if you want to round up. That makes kind of sense. Financial gain makes also sense.
Okay, it does.
Anger makes sense. It's around 18%. Gang activity.
Wait, so you're on highest to lowest. Can you go over it again? I'm sorry, I didn't know.
32% enjoyment, 30% financial gain, 18% anger, and then there's multiple motives. Who knows? That's like 10%.
Right,
okay. Gang activity is starting to get small now. 6%. To avoid arrest, which makes sense. I mean, if you're on the run, you're gonna
kill someone who's right. Makes sense.
Yeah, they're gonna squawk. That's like 1%. Cult, okay, it's like less than 1%.
Like 2%. Okay.
And then convenience.
Shout out.
I don't get convenience.
There's people killing people for convenience.
I don't understand, like how, like they're just like there, and you're like,
if it wasn't for her, I'd be captain of the cheerleader squad. Killer would make sense, I guess. That's convenience, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's a convenience kill, right?
So that makes your life a little bit better. You get that soft pretzel a little bit sooner. That's all I'm saying.
Change your last name to a letter of the alphabet closer to the beginning.
Yeah. Huh.
More of an A, B, or C guy in the end.
And then hallucinations, because I mentally just derange people.
Schizophrenic.
Yeah, schizophrenic. Like 0.5%, and then attention, which I guess newer media, like maybe Jack the Ripper was an attention whore, and he just wanted to get attention for himself.
That's weird, because it totally grabbed the newspaper by the balls. Just saying, it really did.
That's all I got on this study.
Interesting.
It was a lovely study. I love that study.
Serial killers are one of those things where you start to watch a documentary and you're like, I gotta just buckle in. I gotta finish this whole thing. I gotta check it out.
Made me think of Mindhunter when they're trying to figure out like what this serial.
I never saw it. Everyone loves Mindhunter. Is it good? Is it good?
It was a little bit slow moving, but the discussions between the serial killers and the, I guess, FBI agents.
It's a fiction based on reality, right?
Yeah.
And they talk to serial killers or whatever, fake serial killers.
They might have real tapes, so they play like real tapes or discussions. Like the whole reason behind it might be fictional. I'm not sure.
Interesting. I'll check it out, maybe. What's the show? Criminal Minds. Love that show.
This is Criminal.
Then, do you like Criminal Minds or no?
Criminal Minds is the same thing, Phoebe?
No.
Different one?
It's a TV show.
No.
Oh, it's so good, dude. It has the white girl. She has a desk job, and she talks into that thing, and she's like BFF with that hunky black guy. I don't know his name. I gotta check it out. Criminal Minds. Look it up. Just see if you recognize any character. If you don't, you've never seen it. But if you've seen it, you'd be like, oh, that show. No. And they always deal with like his history of sexual abuse. He's known to target women and minorities of color. He will usually strap a bomb to a woman. He will make them do fellatio on a flute before he has them to do it to himself. And you're like, oh my God, I'm into this. You're like, oh my God, there's poor people.
I play the flute. I don't understand.
Why would I play the flute? I would never I've never fillet a flute.
I've never seen this show. It says 13 seasons. I'll have to take a look at this.
It's really good. Well, it's like, do you know what I put it like? It's like Law and Order, but serial killer Law and Order. What do you write that on?
Oh, I have a giant pad. I keep.
Can you hold up the giant pad? And what is on it? TV shows you should watch?
Yeah.
Or like things you should do?
Oh, it has notes. It does have notes.
Well, hold on. So which is it? TV shows? Things? What do you put on that?
Do you want to... one of the things I have on here is that your bass is a he.
Yeah, I guess it is. I didn't even think of that. Most people have instruments that are women. You're right.
Yeah.
You took note of that?
Yeah.
I didn't even know.
I was like, wow, that's strange.
I mean, it is a he.
What, did you name it?
No, I named my last bass. It's sitting right behind it.
Is that also a he?
Yeah.
Okay, let's guess.
Like Wood something McThump was my old bass. I can't even remember his name. Oh my God, that's embarrassing.
Woody McThump?
No, like Wood Strip McThump or something. I forget. Now I feel bad. It has 3 strings of 4. It's sitting behind.
It's been beaten down.
Take care of. Yeah.
Man.
But I mean, at least I don't abuse women. I abuse men. If anything, I'm a forward thinker.
Yeah, make it fair.
If I'm going to slap something, it should be a man. That's how I feel right here.
Slap fighting. Oh, I also have corrections on here.
Oh, you keep everything on this notepad. I like it.
Argento was the one horse, right?
I said that.
Which means silver.
That makes sense. AG.
And the other horse was Scatto.
Oh, I didn't.
Trigger.
Shit. Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, scat means shit.
Scat, it does.
Scatto means trigger. So I guess it means like you're a gun about to go off, like a silver gun. Maybe?
Are you sure it's Scatto?
It is Scatto. I 100% verified. Dan was... Yeah.
I almost caught you. End of the alphabet.
Ooh, live stream. Oh, I see. Let me see if I got anything else here. I write these notes, and I don't know what they mean sometimes.
Quick shout out to Barbara Bush.
Yeah.
Barbara Bush.
Tough. It's good. Good woman.
Do you know she did a lot of work for Flat Earth Society? Well, it's weird because they said 2 weeks ago there was a rumor that she was going to have a breakthrough. I was talking to Dildan about this.
She's going to solve the flat Earth issue?
Well, she was going to prove something. And people were saying that the Earth was flat, and she ended up dead a day later. So,
wow.
And this is real weird. She took insulin. Her medicine is usually labeled by the day, like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and she took it. When they went to pick her up and she had passed, God bless, she had 3 Tuesdays in a row, and it was Thursday. and they found 2 more Tuesdays in her bag.
Huh.
It's almost like someone was trying to stop her from telling the truth.
Yeah.
And I don't know who would do that because she's a nice, calm lady who really doesn't have anything to do with politics or religion or anything. So I thought it was real weird. But maybe if we all dig deeper, we could figure it out.
Yeah, they did say that they found her diary, and inside it just said, Google it.
Just Google it? I really expected something a little more deep. Her diary. And I was like, oh my God. Google it. That was the last thing she wrote. I can imagine. Google it. Shout out Barbara Bush fans. We're having fun at the idea, not at the actual woman who passed. So, rip.
Yeah. Rest in peace. We also say that her husband is having a heart issue with sepsis. He might pass.
He looked bad 2 years ago.
Last time I saw him on camera. He looked awful.
Yeah, he did look pretty bad.
So talking about death. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, if you had an obituary, would you mention that you were part of a podcasting duo known as the Unpanderers?
Not yet. Maybe in like 1 year.
A little bit bigger?
Yeah, because I haven't had 1 full year of Unpanderers.
Okay.
When's a year? Do you know? It's probably right around
coming up
Hurricane
like 3
Harvey.
months, yeah.
Hurricane Harvey, right?
And then, so if you were to keep going for a year, would you... So I've been making some sweet icons. Would you put some of the graphics? Copyright Unpanderers at the bottom of your obituary?
Here he lies. Unpanderers. Won't pander to anyone. Please check out our website, www.unpanderers.com. Our Patreon is here.
Man, I'll put it on mine. That should be part of our record.
I'm fair with that.
Last will and testament. Unpanderers goes to Nick.
This is for real. How do you, if you die, I won't say when.
I'm gonna live
you just want to be buried or whatever? Or,
I'm cremated. I don't mind. Either one. I'd rather go into like a tree, like absorb me into a tree.
My brother-in-law, his father passed, I want to say 3 months ago. Mm-hmm. So he went, and they were like, we should cremate him. Like, that was like, go for cremation. And I think there was a miscommunication between him and the funeral director, because you don't have a heart-to-hearts with these people. Mm-hmm. Like, they're like, this package is $5.99. Mm-hmm. This package is $4.44. We can cremate for this. We have an urn. Do you want an urn? Do you want a special urn? And at the time, you're just like literally thinking of all the things your relative who died said, and you're like,
and the director's just like, but condolences. He's got that face.
Right.
But
like, I'm sorry. But I mean, this is his job. I mean, this is literally
terrible.
Not even to diss him, but he's like, this is terrible. Where do you want to sign? What do we pay? What do you want to do? How do you want to break it down? The payments. Mm-hmm. He doesn't care because he sees this every day, and you care because this is the only time you'll see him in your life. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of miscommunications, and I think my brother-in-law, who I love dearly, he's like, I want to say he's one of my best friends who I never hang out with. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Like one of those people I'm BFF with, but he's always doing his thing up. Anyway, I love him. He's a good soul. Hmm. He somehow he accidentally signed up for a package where he pressed a button to cremate his father. And like, he's there, and he's like, they were like, yeah, can you press the button? And he was like, yeah. And he did it, and he watched his father burn. And like, he felt like he was sending him to hell, I think was a quote I've heard. Because you don't want to see him actually burn.
That's a movie scene. Like, that's way too dramatic.
Right. It's like the Terminator, but it's your dad, I guess. Huh. Anyway, so I want to be cremated, but I don't want anyone to watch. So everyone turn your back, I guess. I don't need to be buried in the ground. And
I want you to burn me in the building I die in. And like, see where
I
die.
What if you're burned to death in a building?
We got a skyscraper.
No, everyone, burn it again, folks. Burn it again. Yeah. Reset those embers in flame.
I think the way to go is the funeral pyre, where they float you out in the middle of a river, and you're on top of a bunch of and then people are just on the shoreline with trumpets and I don't know, other...
Yo, shout out Game of Thrones did it right. Did you see that episode?
I feel like that was...
The weenie cousin or whatever, or the son-in-law or whatever, he's like shooting. It's like 3 arrows. He misses in a row.
He doesn't he grab it?
He gets out of his way, grabs it, and shoots like a real arrow that just lands on him. He just looks at him.
It's like that arrow is like, as he's holding it, it's like throbbing and pulsing in his hands. And he's just like...
He's like, get out of the way. I'll do it.
You're done.
Damn. I think we're done, dude. We talked about death. Well, gang, we're glad you stayed with us this long.
Yeah.
We're glad. Do you have any glaring Axe the Ripper? You just want to throw it to body.
You're going to do that every episode, aren't you?
It was coincidence. Any Jack the Ripper? I pronounced that wrong. Facts you'd like to...
We never said... They never found anybody. And I don't think there's any way that he lived. I think he died afterwards. I think he died in the last maybe 3 months of killing people, and then...
It's 2006. Of course he's dead.
I think he died immediately after killing Mary Gilly. And I think it's probably like one of those silent murders. What about the dude
who died a week? How about the dude who committed suicide a week later?
He had nothing related. They were like, that guy's insane. Let's blame it on him. Oh, wait, we don't know who he is.
That's fair. Newspaper killed everyone. Newspaper did everything good.
Yeah. Information is terrible for you. It makes you go crazy and stone people.
I'm just saying.
It's possible. But
what's it doing right now?
You folks, use the internet.
Check our information.
We love you.
Our information. We got some socials. I want you to check our... Tell them what's up here. I have no clue what's above me.
What? Unpanderers? Twitch, Twitter, Reddit, YouTube, Facebook, Patreon, up down there. Unpanders.com. Unpanders. We're not going to pander, but pander. Pander away.
Just pander away.
You can pander. You can. We can. Wow.
Rip Verntroyer.
It's like a bird. Robot. Good job.
Folks.
We like you. We like you a lot.
We like you a lot.
Good night.